Hello, welcome to another edition of Your Focus Driven Day with your podcaster, Lyman Montgomery. Hello, welcome to another edition of Your Focus Driven Day with your podcaster, Lyman Montgomery. I have been having fun, having a blast as we talk about hypnotic storytelling. Listen, it's not just about telling stories to your kids. It's also about telling stories to yourself. You see, some of the greatest storytellers are those who first tell the story to themselves and even crack themselves up telling a story. And so today we want to talk about pacing. You see, we talked about story format. Again, if you haven't listened to those podcasts, go back and listen to them as we talk about embedded commands, as we talk about the format. Now we want to talk about pacing. You see, the way in which you tell the story dramatically impacts the outcome. That's pacing. You see, pacing is all about the rhythm in which you tell the story. Have you ever watched a great comedian? The key to being a great comedian is what? You already said it, timing. The timing or the pacing of the story, of the joke. You see, when you master pacing, how long do you spend on one aspect of the story before moving to the next? Are you creating a picture in the audience's mind? You see, pacing is all about taking the audience on a journey, but not just as a guide where you are a reporter telling the story, but you actually involve them in the story so they begin to see it. See, one of the key phrases that you can use in pacing to make sure your audience is following you is this key word: imagine with me. Why don't you say that? The next time you tell a story, the next time you give a presentation, simply ask the audience to do this. Imagine with me. Have you ever considered, you see, what would happen if? That allows the audience to get into the story with you, as opposed to simply being a reporter. You see, nobody wants to hear bad news, even though a lot of us are addicted to bad news. But you see, part of being a hypnotic storyteller is allowing the audience to experience with you the story. So the next time you tell a story, involve the audience by simply saying, have you ever thought, have you ever imagined, would you consider? This allows the audience to experience the story with you as opposed to simply listening to you tell the story. Hey, I'm out of time, but never out of things to say. Join us next time on another edition of Your Focus Driven Day with your podcaster, Lyman Montgomery.